Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala nabina wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmeen. Continuing the explanation of Shurut al-Salah wa arkanuha wa wajibatuha, the conditions and pillars and obligations of Salah by Salih al-Usaymi. And the Shaykh goes and explains, and Muhammad al-Wahhab, he says, rahimahullah, in his book, Shurut al-Salah wa nawaqidu thamaniya, and the invalidations of wudu are 8. Al-Khariju min as-sabilain, what comes out from the two passageways. Wal-Khariju al-fahishu najisu min al-jasad, and what comes out and what is impure from the body. Was wal akal, and the intellect ceasing, wa masful marati bi shahwa, and touching the woman with desire, wa masful farj bil yad qublan kana or duburan, and touching the private parts with the hand, whether it's the front private part or the back private part, meaning not the anus. Wa aklu lahmil jazur, and eating the camel meat. Wa taghsil al-mayyit, and washing of the dead body. And waridatu an Islam, and apostasy from Islam. Adhanallahu min dhalik, and may Allah protect us from that. So Salih al-Usaymi explaining these, and they'll become more clear to you in his explanation. Salih al-Usaymi goes on to say in his explanation, Lam yabka min muhimmat ahkam al-wudu sawa nawakiduhu. It does not remain from the importance of the ruling of wudu except what invalidates it. وقد أدها مصنف رحمه الله هنا ثمانية كما هو مذهب الحنابلة. And the author has enumerated them to be 8, as is in the madhab of the Hanbalis. ومن أدها منهم سبعة أسقط الردة لأنها موجب لما هو أعظم من ذلك وهو غسل. And whoever enumerated them to be 7, then he dropped apostasy, because that necessitates, which is something greater than wudu, and that is ghusl, bath. فاختلاف بينهم لفظي. So the difference amongst them was a difference simply in wording. وأول هذه النواقض, and the first of these invalidators, الخارج من السبيلين, what comes out of the two passageways, وهما القبل والدبر, and that is the front private passage, والدبر, and also the back private passage. قليلا كان أو كثيرا, whether it is small or a lot. طاهرا كان أو نجسا, whether it is pure or impure from the front and the back. وثانيه الخارج الفاحش النجس من الجسد, and the second is what comes out corruptfully, impurely from the body, سواء السبيلين, other than the two passageways. فما خرج من غير السبيلين ناقض الوضوء بشرطين. So what comes out from other than the two passageways invalidates wudu if two conditions are met. نجاسته وفحشه, one that is impure, and the second that it is basically a lot, as in it is not pleasant, basically, i.e. meaning a lot. وما يفحش في نفس كل أحد بحسبه فيرجع إلى حكم نفسه. So what spoils in oneself is accordance to what is returned to the ruling of himself. I'll try and explain that in a bit better, just bear with me 1 second. So basically I mentioned two conditions that well, not me, Salih Hussein mentioned two conditions. One that is impure, and second that it is not pleasant, i.e. meaning that it is a lot, and what is not pleasant in the self of everyone is accordant in proportion to what he considers himself. So that's the best way to explain it. I'm sorry if you don't understand that. And continuing, the third condition to invalidate wudu is the seizing of the intellect. وَثَالِثُهَا زَوَالُ الْأَقْلِ حَقِيقَةً أَوْ حُكْمًا, whether it is in reality or whether it's simply as a ruling. وَزَوَالُ حَقِيقَةً بِالْجُنُونِ, and its seizing in reality is by madness. And وَزَوَالُ حُكْمًا, and its seizing in terms of as a ruling, بِنَوْمٍ مُسْتَغْرَقٍ, is with having a deep sleep, or إغماء ويسمى تغطية للعقل, or fainting, and that is called the covering of the intellect. Well, the fourth condition for breaking of wudu, ورابعها مس المرأة بشهوة, is touching the woman with desire, أو بالإضافة إلى بشرتها, or joining to it, touching her skin, دون حائل, without material between you and the woman. وَكَذَا عَكْسُهُ مِنْ إِمْرَةٍ, and also the opposite applies from the woman. فَلَوْ مَسَّتْ الْمَرْأَةُ رَجُلًا بِشَهْوَةٍ, so if a woman touched a man with desire, كَانَ ذَلِكَ نَاقِضًا إِنَّ قَائِلًا بِهِ, then that would invalidate her wudu, according to those who follow this opinion. The fifth condition of the invalidity of wudu is masul farji bil yad qublan kana aw dublan, is touching the private parts with the hand, the front or the back, without any material, دون حائل ولو بغير شهوة, even if it is without desire. وسادسها أكل لحم الجزور أي الإبل, and the sixth is eating the meat of the camel. And the Salih Sayyid goes on to say, الحديث وارد في الوضوء من أكل لحم الجزور لفظ أكل لحم الإبل من الجزور. The Salih Sayyid goes on to say, the hadith that mention regarding the wudu from someone who eats the meat of the camel, mention the word al-ibal. So the Salih Sayyid goes on to say, why do the scholars of fiqh say eating of the lahm al-jazur وَلَمْ يَقُولُوا أَكْلُ لَحْمِ الْإِبَلِ, and they don't say eating of the meat of the camel, ibal, وَأَنْهُ هُوَ وَارِثُ الْحَدِيثِ, even though it is mentioned in the hadith with that wording. قالوا, they say this, وَذَلِكَ الَّذِي لَا يَعْرِفُ الْفِقْهِ يَسْتَخِفُ بِعِبَارَةِ الْفُقَهَاءِ. So those who do not know fiqh, they take lightly the expression of the scholars of fiqh. وَالَّذِي يَعْرِفُ الْفِقْهِ يُعَظِّمْ كَلِمَاتِ الْفُقَهَاءِ. And those who know fiqh, they will heed great importance to the words of the scholars of fiqh. الْفُقَهَاء قَالُوا, the scholars of fiqh say, بَاب قَضَاءِ الْفَوَائِدِ. They say, for example, chapter making up what has been passed. وَلَمْ يَقُولُوا بَاب قَضَاءُ الْمَتْرُوكَاتِ, and did not say chapter making up what has been left. أَلَيْسَ مَا فَاتَتْهُ الصَّلَاةُ يَكُونُ كَتَرَكَهَا وَلَمْ يُصَلِّهَا. And Salih Hussein goes on to say, is not the one who has missed the salah, he has left it and did not pray it? Yeah? And al-jawab, bala, of course. لكنهم قالوا, but however they said, إن إثان الذنب بالمسلم أن لا يكون حامله التأمل على الترك أوجب أن نقول في حقه فوت ولا نقول تركا. هذه عبارة شريفة. They say, of course, however, having good thoughts of the Muslim is that it did not carry him intention to leave, has necessitated us that we say regarding the Muslim, the passed him by, and we do not say left. And this is a noble expression. So going on back to the subject, Salih Hussein says, وَإِنَّمَا قَالُوا أَكْلُ اللَّحْمِ الْجَزُورِ دُونَ الْإِبَلِ. They said eating of the meat of the jazur, not mentioning the ibal. لأن القائلين بالنقد به يخصون النقد بما يحتاج فيه إلى الجزر أي القط دون ما لا يحتاج فيه إلى ذلك. Because the eating of the meat of the jazur, they say eating of the meat of the jazur without saying the word ibal, because those that say that the wuzu invalidates by eating of the camel meat, they specify what is in need in it from jazr, which is cutting. دون ما لا يحتاج فيه إلى ذلك. Other than that which is not needed in that. فهم لا يرون نقدا بأكل اللحم الرأس. So they do not see that the wudu is invalidated by eating the meat of the head. ولا لحم هوايا كالقبض والتهال ونحوها, and nor the liver or the spleen. ومثل هذه لا يحتاج إلى التمتع بلحمها إلى جزرها وقتها والهواية تستخرج استخراجا. And the likes of these, there are no need to take pleasure in its meat and cutting it, rather they are extracted. تنزع نزعا والرأس لا تتسلط عليه سكين فتقطيعه كي ينتفع بأكله. And also the head, you cannot put a knife over it and cut it so they can benefit by eating it. فهو مخصوص إنهم بما يجزر ويحتاج للانقطاع. So according to them, it is what is yadzur, which Salih goes on to say is needed to benefit by it, by breaking it إلى تقطيعه وتكسير إذامه, and breaking it. وهو اللحم الأحمر, and it's the red meat الذي يسمى بالحبر بما هو سوى ما ذكرناه, with that which is what other than that. فلأجل اختصاصها, so due to its specification in the القائلين بالنقد, this specification according to those that say that the wudu invalidates, بهذا دون هذا قالوا أكل لحم الجزور, and that is why they said eating of the meat of the jazur. وسابها تكسير الميت, and the seventh thing that invalidates wudu is washing of the dead body بمباشرة جسده بالغسل, which means directly touching the body when washing. ولا من يصب الماء عليه, not the one that just pours water over the dead body. فإنما ينتقد الوضوء المباشر للجسد الميت لغسله دون من صب عليه. So only the person's wudu invalidates the one that touches directly the body for washing it, not the one that pours water over it. وثامنها الردة عن الإسلام, and the eighth invalidation of wudu is apostasy after Islam, and that is بالكفر بعد الإيمان, that is kufr after iman. And then Salih Hussein, finishing off this point, goes on to say والراجي أن الخارج الفارس النجس من البدن والمس المرأة بشهوة ومس الفرج اليد قبلا أو دبرا ورد الإسلام ليس من نواقض الوضوء. فبقي من الثمانية أربعة هي الخارج من السبيلين وزوال الأقل وأكل اللحم الجزور وتغسيل الميت. So Salih says, and the correct opinion is that what comes out in a corrupt way and is impure from the body, obviously not mentioning the two passageways, and that's just me adding that beyond, and touching of the woman with desire, and touching of the private parts, whether it's the front or the back, and apostasy from Islam. So I repeat that again. The correct opinion regarding what comes out in a corrupt way from the body, i.e. a lot, and is impure from the body, and that's one. And then touching the woman with desire, that's two. And touching the private parts, whether it is the front or the back, and apostasy from Islam, they are not from the invalidation of wudu. فَيَبْكَى مِنَ الثَّمَانِ أَرْبَعَ. So from the 8, 4 remains, and that is what comes out of the 2 pathways, al-kharij min as-sabilayn, wa zawal al-aql, the seizing of the intellect, wa akl lahm al-jazur, and eating the meat of the jazur, i.e. the camel, as I explained to you. Well, it's all the same explained to you, and I tried my best to translate. Apologies if I didn't translate it properly. And wa taksil al-mayt, and washing of the dead body. And that concludes today's lesson, and inshallah we'll continue another day.